you can't be spiritual when you take out ritual. Then you are only a spy. You're just looking at things. So they take away the ritual out of the spiritual and claim they are being spiritual when they are being spies, watchers. The Almighty David that you people have been seeing in the Bible, that God loved him so much. Do you know why God loved him? Because David was a man of customs. You didn't know, huh? I'll show you in the Bible that David poured libation. You are welcome on the African Spiritual Connections TV. I already started with you a series that I know is going to shake people around the world, especially Christians who don't really know the book they are holding, what is entailed in here. Now, I titled this series African Spirituality in the Bible. And the first episode that already published, I talked about the gods and the Most High. Now, before I start, let me let you know that our channel, yes, it belongs to me and belongs to you too, has qualified for YouTube memberships. There was once that some of you approached me that you wanted to join my channel so that you could contribute something to me on monthly basis. Now, it has come to pass that our channel has now qualified. So, those of you who are in countries that qualify for super thanks, if you check under the video, you can see super thanks, as in thank you, under the video, that you can click on it and then it will help you to send me a token so that I'll be able to continue to bring you this series and other videos that are very educative. Now, under the comment section too, when you go there, you will see, click on this link to join our channel and have the chance to enjoy perks. Yes, I've set up some guidelines and some membership levels that when you join and you contribute towards my channel on monthly basis, there are some certain benefits that you get. Just check it out and then see what you can do to help. And let me also see what I can do to help you. Now, those of you who join as members, on periodic basis, I'll be sending you very detailed spirituality videos that come with practicality. Practicality. This video that I'm talking about, I'll come with practicals. How to pray using water and wine and even oil. But that video will only be for members of the channel. So if you are not a member of the channel yet, go under the description section and click on the link to join. And then you would not regret it. Thank you. Today I wanted to talk about the Most High, who the Most High is. But I'll put that one in my closet for now and talk about a very, very delicate, not even delicate, very important issue that has to do with prayers, the way we truly pray. In fact, when I see people in the temples praying the way they do, I become a bit sad for them, because I know that you can't be spiritual when you take out a ritual. Then you are only a spy. You're just looking at things. So they take away the ritual out of the spiritual and claim they are being spiritual when they are being spies, watchers. So I'm going to teach you how to pray today. And I'll be quoting from the Bible how the Most High has assigned for us to be praying. Now, I'm titling this one Libational Prayers. Libational Prayers. For me, we talk to you about what we have heard from the energies and what we practice, not about what we have read from any book anywhere. However, I said I'm going to give you every bit of claim that I make. I'm going to give you proof from the Christian black book. I won't even call this a Christian black book because it's the book of our ancestors, stolen and brought back to us with excessive changes, careless changes made to it. So let me not talk too much. Let me just go straight to the point and start this topic right away. Now, someone will be asking, PaulVin, you are talking about libational prayers. What is libation? Now, to answer this, I'll first make a claim that libation is the highest form of prayers. The highest form of prayers. The highest form of prayers with which one said energies are moved to act. Yes, it is in the Bible. The earlier chosen nations of the Most High prayed through libation. Now, what do we use for libation, or how do we perform libational prayers? In order for me not to digress too much from my main aim, African spirituality in the Bible, I will prefer to sweep this under the carpet and come again with a new episode trying to demonstrate how we perform libational prayer. But for now, I'll only give you words. Libational prayer is a form of prayer where we offer energies, spirit, deities, something in our hand. It can be water, it can be wine, alcoholic or non-alcoholic, it can be oil specifically, red oil, even though our people say olive oil, red oil. It can even be sand. Yes, it can even be sand. That's what we call libational prayer. I'll come later to come and teach you the steps, the ranks of energies that we invoke during libational prayer. But for now, let me quickly dive back into the main topic, African spirituality in the Bible, libational prayer. So, we will first take our Bible reading from Exodus. No, let me first take you to Judges 9:13, so that I tell you why we use wine to pray. Why we use wine to pray. Judges 9:13. Judges 9:13 was when you read Judges chapter 9, you hear or you see the personification of plants, talking about trees, having a meeting in the forest. And during the meeting, these plants wanted to get rulers. All right, someone to rule them. So they will go to this plant and say, oh, this plant rule us. Then the plant will give an excuse. So they chose. People rejected it, or plants rejected it, and they chose the grape tree. The grape tree. And let's see what the grape tree said. Judges 9:13. It reads, let me go back to verse 9. Let me go back to verse 8. Verse 8. Once upon a time, the trees got together to choose a king for themselves. They said to the olive tree, be our king. The olive tree said, in order to govern you, I would have to stop producing my oil, which is used to honor gods and human beings. So here you've seen about oil. It's used to honor gods and human beings, right? Okay. Then the trees said to the fig tree, come and be our king. But the fig trees answered, in order to govern you, I would have to stop producing my good sweet fruit. So the trees then said to the grapevine, come, be our king. But the vine answered, in order to govern you, I would have to stop producing my wine that makes gods and humans happy. That make gods and human beings happy. So I have given you two things that we use to offer libational prayers, right, from the Bible. Oil, wine. But we also use water. We also use sand. Judges 9 verse 9 told you that olive tree said it produces oil that is used to honor gods and used to honor humans. 9:13 said, a grapevine said it produces wine that make gods and humans happy. So when you pour wine or oil for the gods, they are moved to act. They are moved to act, according to Judges 9:13. So when you are offering wine or oil to your deities, to the Most High, don't let anybody stand anywhere and judge you and tell you you are being demonic, you are honoring demons because you are pouring libation. Because those who hold this, even their clericals, even their clergies, the archbishops and whoever, they talk anyhow. They don't really know what they hold in their hand. Now let me take you back. Where do we pour libation? Well, in fact, libation can be poured anywhere. 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 Right? So far as your feet are on the bare ground, and whatever you are pouring goes into direct sand. But we have designated places where we pour libation for certain energies. And those are the places that we call altar. Altar. We call it an altar of earth. Now, how do we know this altar of earth are not demonic, whatever? The altar of earth is also in the Bible. And the Most High even showed how it should be done. Let me take you back to Exodus chapter 20, verse 24. Exodus chapter 20, verse 24. Follow me and you will understand what we are doing here. Stolen legacy, African spirituality in the Bible. Today we are talking about libational prayer. So, Exodus chapter 20, verse 24. It says, let me take it back to verse 22, then I'll jump to verse 24 so that you know who is talking. The Lord commanded Moses to say to the Israelites, you have seen how I, the Lord, have spoken to you from heaven. So this is the Lord talking. Let me jump to verse 24. Make an altar of earth for me, and on it sacrifice your sheep and your cattle as offerings to be completely burnt as fellowship offerings. In every place that I set aside for you to worship me, I will come to you and bless you. So make an altar of earth. Altar of earth. So those who don't know what an altar of earth is, look on the screen. Altar of earth is what you see on the screen. This is what we call legba. Legba. Those who have listened to not Kiddy, this Nigerian guy, Wizkid. Those who have listened to Wizkid's song, he sang a song like, hey, Oshua Legba, oh, they know my story. Aha, you know that song. Oshua, Eshu Legba. Eshu Legba. That's what you are seeing on your screen now is the altar of earth for Legba. So let me continue from the verse 25. The Most High is coming to show how we even use stones. And I'll go deeper into the Bible and show you that some icons of the Bible used stones, altars. I'll go back to the deeper in the Bible and show you. Now verse 25. It says, if you make an altar of stone for me, do not build it out of cut stones, because when you use a chisel on stones, you make them unfit for my use. This is the reason why when you use a chisel on stones, you make them unfit for spiritual use. Because I already explained in this video that I've put the link up here, that all things within nature are living things. Therefore, stones also are inhabited by spirits. Right? So just as the human body, when you use a chisel to cut open the human body, you are killing the body. Therefore, the spirit that inhibits it cannot live in it again. It has to leave and go and find different body sometime later. That's reincarnation. We'll come and talk about reincarnation too in the Bible later. So the stone too, the same way. Animals, the same way. Plants, the same way. When you cut down plants, just that sometimes they are able to rebud, or they are able to bud again. But stones, when you chisel stone, you make it unfit for any energy to inhibit it, because you cool the stone. Therefore, the energy within which reside in the stone will leave. And if you pour wine on it, it cannot transform or send your prayers to the corridors where you are sending it to. That's why the Most High is telling you that don't chisel stones and use it for my altar, because when you chisel them, they become dead stones. So, which icons in the Bible used altar? This one was an instruction given to Moses. And I'm going back to Genesis. Later, I'll come back to Exodus and I'll show you that Moses actually did what the Most High told him to do. Let me take you back to Genesis chapter 35, verse 14. There is a man out of whom the so-called 12 tribes of Israel came. The man's name is Jacob. According to the Bible, Jacob, that's what we know. Jacob was one of the people who used stone altars. If I go and do it today, people who judge a lot will come and judge me and tell me that I am worshiping idols, worshiping stones. But Jacob did it. Jacob did it in Genesis 35, verse 14. So Jacob went somewhere to go and sleep. This is the story. After Jacob slept, he had put his head on a stone. Which doesn't really make sense though. How does someone sleep and put his head on a stone? But that's what the Bible says. And after Jacob slept, he dreamt and had an encounter with his God. Now, after Jacob had an encounter with his God, he realized that there might be God wherever he was sleeping. Therefore, he wanted to set up an altar for that God. So, Jacob did this in 35:14 Genesis. There, where God has spoken to him, Jacob set up a memorial stone and consecrated it by pouring wine and olive oil on it. He named the place Bethel. So Jacob consecrated the stone that he set up as an altar for God, memorial stone, by pouring wine and oil on it. So when you pour wine and oil, you make that place that you stand a holy place where energies come to reside and listen to your prayers or your invocations. So this is what Jacob did. So when you go and stand anywhere, pouring wine or oil, I've told you the oil is red oil. The oil we pour is red oil. You can see it on your screen. You can see this priest offering prayers and using the oil that I'm talking to you about. I'm not here to say things that I've read from books. I'm going to tell you things that we practice ourselves. So that's what you see there. Later, I'll tell you about other things. So when you go and stand anywhere and you pray to the Most High, to your deities, your stools, and you pour wine on either the ground or on the stone, let nobody judge you for you to accept that you are worshiping an idol and you are being demonic, whatever. Those I don't want to say those are nonsense, but those are senseless stuff. Don't let anybody break you down like that. Now from here, I will just take you back to Numbers. Numbers chapter 28, verse 7. This one was the Most High himself. Even though, you see, in Exodus chapter 20, verse 24, the Most High told Moses that Moses should set up an altar of earth where Moses will sacrifice his sheep and cattle on it. But today, if you go and stand somewhere and offer cattle and sheep whilst praying, they will say you are offering blood to a demon. But the Most High, who never changes, according to the Bible, he has been the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. Now, they are telling us that the Most High has changed. In the olden days, he used to like blood so much. Now, he doesn't like blood anymore because he has eaten the blood of his own son. And then it has choked him. He is satisfied. So he doesn't need blood again. It's a lie. It's a big lie. The moment you stop doing this, you will never hear of any energy in your life. When they come and torment you and go because you have nothing to offer them. So, Numbers 28, verse 7. The Most High asked Moses to do something for him. Numbers 28, verse 7 says, as the wine offering with the first lamp Pour out at the altar 1 liter of wine. At the altar, 1 liter of wine. Which altar? The altar of earth spoken about in Exodus 20, chapter 20, verse 24. Or the memorial stone spoken about in chapter 20, verse 25, Exodus. Or Genesis 35, verse 14, that Jacob did. And if Jacob did it, Jacob must have learned that thing from the ancestors. Thus, Isaac, the father, and Abraham, the grandfather, and Terah, the great-grandfather. Because this is culture that is passed on from generation to generation. You see, later, I'll show you that all those people were black men. And you know, we black people, we like transferring our knowledge through the oral tradition. Even though we write, yes, but most of our system of learning is passed on through oral tradition. Now, Numbers 28, the Most High said, as the wine offering with the first lamb, pour out at the altar 1 liter of wine. So, at the altar, you should pour out 1 liter of wine. If I am to go back to 28 verse 1 and I start reading the whole of 28 to verse 7, you will see the things that the God of Israel used to take from the Israelites. Now let me go back to verse 20, chapter 28 verse 1. The Lord commanded Moses to instruct the Israelites to present to God at the appointed times the required food offering that are pleasing to him. These are the food offerings that are to be presented to the Lord. For the daily burnt offering, 2 one-year-old male lamb without defects. Daily offering, 2 one-year-old male lamb without defect. Offer the first lamb in the morning and the second lamb in the evening, each with a grain offering of 1 kilogram of flour mixed with 1 liter of best olive oil. That is what I'm coming to tell you. I'm coming to show you that the oil is not olive oil, it's red oil. On your screen, you have it, the flour. You can see there are 2 flours. We have the white flour and the yellowish flour. What makes that flour yellow is the oil that has been mixed with it. And that oil is the red oil, as you can see on your screen. We have other forms of flour that we do. This particular flour that you are seeing now is made out of corn flour. We dry the corn and we send it to the milling machine. We mill it and then we get the flour out of it. And we feed our energies with it. There's another way to also make that flour where we either use yam or plantain. In our local language, the tree, Akan language, we call it eto. People also say oto, where we boil plantain and then we mash it, or let me say we grind it. After grinding, it becomes like kneaded flour, though we don't add water. Then sometimes we add oil, sometimes we don't add oil. Same thing is also done when it is yam, but mostly the yam, they like it without oil. But some energies also prefer the yam with oil. The gas call it popoy. Popoy. I don't know if I'm mentioning the thing right. Popoy. But the accounts will call it baireto. Baire is yam, and to is the mashed the flour made out of yam or plantain. Yes. So these are the food offerings we offer our gods and deities in the shrines. So let nobody come and tell you that those things that our shrine priests are doing, they are 7 demonic creatures who were created by the Most High. I already showed you in the previous episode that these gods and angels are all children of the Most High, according to Psalm 82 verse 1 to 9. And according to Deuteronomy chapter 32 verse 8, it told you that it is the Most High who gave authority and rulership to these heavenly beings, I mean the gods, right? And let nobody also try to tell you that these gods only reside in heaven, because in Job chapter 1 verse 6, when the appointed time reached for the heavenly beings to appear before the Most High, the one they call Satan also went And when the Most High was talking to Satan, Satan told the Most High that he had been roaming earth. So it's not only energies who are in the heavens who go to that meeting, it's also energies who are in the waters, on the land, in the air, they all go. All right. So in Numbers 28 verse 1, we have seen here that the God of Israel used to take on daily basis one-year-old lamb, one in the morning, one in the evening, one in the morning, one in the evening. If you continue reading it, it will tell you that even on Sabbath, the God of Israel told them to double it, 2 in the morning, 2 in the evening, throughout the whole year. This is what they call the daily offerings. It's long. Continue reading yourself at your leisure. The daily offerings. And there was a prophecy that these daily offerings will be stopped in the temples, and the moment it is stopped, people will not hear of God again. And yes, they go to their Christian temples, and whenever they pray, nothing happens. Unless they come to us in the shrine for us to give them something, which I'm even going to preach against, that our shrine priests must stop giving deities powers to the Christian pastors who claim that they serve the Most High, yet they have nothing to show for it. Therefore, they come to us in secret, they take the energies, go into the temples, preach to their temples that our energies are demonic, yet they are using it, and later they they spew nonsense about us. When we are the cosmic rulers, we are the one who hold the day. So, let me take you through the Bible. You understand certain things now. Now, we have spoken about Exodus. We've gone to Judges. We've gone to Numbers. Let me take you to Hosea 2:21. There is something that happened in Hosea, that was said in Hosea by the Most High. And other versions have tried to cover up this quotation. For example, if you read Hosea 2:21 from the Good News Bible, it says something very, very different from what is supposed to be. Hosea 2 verse 21. It says, "At that time, I will answer the prayers of my people Israel. I will make rain fall on earth, and the earth will produce corn and grapes and olives." So at least prayers have been answered here, right? I'll answer the prayers of my people Israel, which means this quotation is talking about prayers. Now, let me show you the trick, how these people are trying to hide certain things in the Bible. Take a different version, a Bible version. Let me take you to the NIV. Open Hosea 2:21, and I read. It says, verse 21, "In that day, I will respond, declares the Lord. I will respond to the skies, and they will respond to the earth, and the earth will respond to the grain, and the new wine, and olive oil, and they will respond to Jezreel." See, I've already talked to you about Judges 9 verse 9 and Judges 9:13, talking about oil and wine. That makes the gods happy. And I also talked about Genesis 35 verse 14, whereby Jacob consecrated a stone as a memorial altar for the Lord when he poured wine and oil on it. Now, in the Good News Bible, it's talked about Hosea 2:21 being a prayer. I will answer the prayers of my people Israel. But when you go to NIV, NIV has explained the method or the procedural ways through which libational prayer is heard. I'll read again, I will explain for you to understand. "In that day, I will respond." Yes, when you pour libation, the gods are moved to respond, declares the Lord. "I will respond to the skies, and they will respond to the earth, and the earth will respond to the grain, the new wine, and the olive oil." I'm going to read this quotation because this quotation has been turned upside down. I'll read from down to the top approach, and you will understand how libational prayers work. So, the earth will respond to the grain, and the new wine, and the oil, going back, and the sky will respond to the earth, and the Lord will respond to the skies. So when you pour wine, oil to the ground, the ground or the earth is seen as the negative energy. God the Mother, let me say it that way, God the Mother. And the skies is a representation of God the Father. So when the skies rain to the earth, it's a projection or a symbolism of sex going on between God the Father and God the Mother. So the rain represents sperms being introduced into the vagina, which is the Mother Earth. Therefore, Mother Earth becomes pregnant because God the Father has slept with God the Mother during rain. And after some days, you will see new plants sprouting from the earth. Thus, pregnancy being delivered. So Mother Earth is being delivered of babies, which are plants, different kind of animals coming out of the earth. Right? So the earth is seen as mother of all the deities. Therefore, you don't see chicks following cocks, but we see chicks following hen. So when you give something to the hen, you see all the chicks coming around to take it. But when you give something to cock, even when 8 chicks come around it, it will find them. So they tell you that the God of Israel, being male, is very jealous of the other deities, because cocks even fight with their own chicks over food, but hen don't do that. So you give the wine to the mother, which is the earth, and the earth will invite all the children who are in the skies, in the air, in the earth, wherever. And then when they take the prayers, those who are in the skies will also send it to the sky daddy, which is God the Father. Even that one, I'll come and explain later who the sky daddy is. Right? So this is libational prayer. Offer what is in your hand: wine, water, olive, not olive, red oil, to the ground. The ground will take it up and give it to the energies within the air or the skies. And the energies within the skies will take it to the Most High. Hosea 2:21. If you're not spiritual, you cannot explain it. You follow what the Good News Bible is saying, that and they will plant corn, they will plant what, they will plant what. Let me talk to you about corn, why they are saying corn, and why they are saying wine. I already showed you that we use corn for flour, and then we mix red oil with it. Right? If you go to the Ever tribe, they fetch water and they add the corn flour to it. So as you can see on the screen, that's how we're doing it right now. As they are praying, then they are stirring the corn, the water mixed with corn. They are stirring it with their left hand before they pour it down to the earth. So the earth will listen to the corn. When they finish pouring the corn water, or the corn drink to the earth, then they pour in the middle of it red oil or wine. As you can see, to start doing it. So the earth will answer or take the corn drink, the oil, and the wine, and give it to the energies for them to report to the Most High. This is libational prayer in the Bible. Who is telling you that these things are demonic? Unless that person is ignorant of the book that person is holding. The person can call himself bishop, archbishop, whatever. Because they lack the wisdom of the African shrine, they cannot explain the Bible that they hold. And here we are telling you that this book is the book of our own ancestors. They wrote it for us. But the European man, the one that our ancestors called Abrofo, the wicked ones. That's how Akans call Europeans. They call them Abrofo. If you explain it, it means Abro means wickedness. So Abrofo, wicked people. For is plural. But if it's one, they call it Broni, Abroni, the wicked one. But they paint angels white and they paint the devil, or the one they call Satan, black. For you, the black man, to see that you yourself, you are the devil. You see, your ancestors also refer to them the same. That's why they took your ancestors' book, their stories, their history, repainted and rebranded it. Made the inside white and the outside black, and brought it to you. That This one, the black one, is not good. Reject it. The good news is here. The white. Read it. But they forgot that the good news is printed in black ink. I'm not done. Now, the Almighty David that you people have been seeing in the Bible, that God loved him so much. Do you know why God loved him? Because David was a man of customs. You didn't know, huh? I'll show you in the Bible that David poured libation. Go to 2 Samuel, chapter 23, verse 16. You see, David had gone to war. In fact, the Israelites had almost been conquered by the Philistines. And David was thirsty. He had 3 of his soldiers who were brave enough to maneuver their way through the camp of the Philistines to go and fetch water from a well for David, their king, to drink. After they brought the water to David, do you know what David did? The Bible will tell you, not me. The 3 famous soldiers forced their way through the Philistine camp, drew some water from the well, and brought it back to David. But he would not drink it. Instead, he poured it out as an offering to the Lord and said, Lord, I could never drink this. It would be like drinking the blood of these men who risked their lives. So he refused to drink it. Those were the brave deeds of the 3 famous soldiers. Now, you see, they've written the Bible in a way that you put your attention on the brave deeds of the 3 famous soldiers, but the attention should be rather on the pouring of water to the ground for the Most High. Because David had almost been conquered, so he needed to invoke the supremacy of the energy for them to come to his aid. So David poured water on the ground before the Lord. If you read other versions, it repeats it. Even same thing can be found in 1 Chronicles chapter 11, verse 8. If you think Samuel is lying, let's go to Chronicles. Let me go back to 16. At that time, David was on a fortified hill, and a group of Philistines had occupied Bethlehem. David got homesick and said, how I wish someone would bring me a drink of water from the well by the gate of Bethlehem. The 3 famous soldiers forced their way through the Philistine camp, drew some water from the well, and brought it back to David. But he would not drink it. Instead, he poured it out as an offering to the Lord. So David poured water on the ground as an offering to the Lord. So who is telling you that when you pour water as an offering to the Lord, you are sinning? Is this not the same God who said he loves David so much? David is the best friend. And that the throne of David will never ever come to an end. And they even preach that even right now, Christ or Jesus the Christ is the one who sits on the throne of David. Later on this channel, you realize that the throne of David is here in Ghana. We are telling you. So David did it, poured water. So go ahead and take water and pour it to your ancestors. And anytime the Israelites prayed, you always see them mentioning the names of their ancestors. The God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob. Why do you think they are doing that? They are invoking their ancestors, pouring wine to them. And you say what? When you invoke your ancestors, you are doing what? You are invoking devilish, demonic substances, demonic creatures. People don't know what you are saying. As if I'm done. Something happened in 1 Samuel chapter 7, verse 6. 1 Samuel chapter 7, verse 6. So they all gathered at Mizpah. They drew some water and poured it out as an offering to the Lord, and fasted that whole day. They said, we have sinned against the Lord. It was Mizpah that Samuel settled dispute among the Israelites. So the Israelites felt that they had sinned against their Lord, right? And per the direction of Samuel, they drew water and poured the water as an offering to the Lord because they had sinned. So that's their means of apologizing to the Most High. So if you sit in your temples and claim you are worshiping the God of Israel, which used to take, not used to, the God of Israel, who takes wine offering, water offering, animal blood, over 800 lambs in a year, one in the morning, one in the evening, double at Sabbath. And when someone is doing his own, you sit there and then say what you want to say because of your ignorance. Because you don't know the book that you are holding yet. You claim to have masters of whatever, doctor, whatever. And then you have gatherings following you. And you are preaching them things that are untrue. Things that you yourself don't even understand. Things that you don't even practice. They are here. And you call yourself what? Man of the book. Don't call yourself man of the God or man of God. Call yourself man of the book. Because the men of God, they are not taught by books. They are taught by the gods themselves in the shrines. We are their spokespeople. I'm just laying the facts bare. Now, I'll take you back to Jeremiah chapter 44 verse 17. There's a controversy that happened there about libation. And I'm trying to fish out the lies that the Abroni or the Abrofor have tried to insert into the Bible. Let's go to Jeremiah 44 verse 17. Here, this is a conversation that happened, or yes, that ensued between the women of Israel and Jeremiah the prophet, right? And then Jeremiah was trying to advise them, but the women of Israel knew what they were doing and they would not listen. So something happened. Well, let's go and read it and we will talk about it. 44:17. It says, "We will do everything that we said we would. We will offer sacrifices to our goddess, the Queen of Heaven, and we will pour out wine offerings to her, just as we and our ancestors, our king and our leaders used to do in the towns of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem. Then we had plenty of food." When they used to pour the offerings to the goddess, the Queen of Heaven, right? People are nowadays saying we have God the Father, we have God the Son, and we have God the Holy Spirit, but we don't have God the Mother. So they are trying to tell you that a man can give birth himself without a woman, which is not possible. But this Bible is mentioning somebody called the Queen of Heaven. So if you have the King of Heaven, and why is the Queen of Heaven left out? Because someone is trying to demonize all the other deities and only make one stand out. Monotheism, which is very wrong. The Most High assigned nations, they are heavenly beings, they are gods. So let's continue to read and see what used to happen to them when they were pouring those offerings, those wine offerings to the goddess. It continues and it reads, "We will offer sacrifices to our goddess, the Queen of Heaven, and we will pour out wine offerings to her, just as we and our ancestors, our king and our leaders used to do in the towns of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem. Then we had plenty of food. We were prosperous and had no troubles." We had plenty of food. This quotation said that the Israelites, the ancestors, and who did they refer to as their ancestors? Abraham, Jacob, Isaac. So the ancestors and their kings used to do. Which king are you talking about? David. I've showed you David did it. David poured offering. He used water. So since it has admitted that David used water, then you should know that if he had gotten wine, he would use it. So David used wine. Yes, it's not everything that happened that has been captured in the Bible. It doesn't mean that it didn't happen. Right? So let's continue the conversation. "Then we had plenty of food. We were prosperous and had no troubles. But ever since we stopped sacrificing to the Queen of Heaven and stopped pouring out wine offerings to her, we have had nothing, and our people have died in war and of starvation." So the moment you stop offering wine to the deities in your homes, to the territorial gods of your lands, You will go to war and you will lose. You will be hungry. Your household will be bare. Poverty will rule over your house. These are all curses laid down by the ancestors. You can find these curses in Deuteronomy chapter 28. Yes, Moses laid down those curses. And those people I've told you were black ancestors. Later I'll come and prove it with the Bible. So black ancestors laid down curses that if black people left their energies in their homes and go astray, things will never be good for them. And it happened here that when they stopped pouring the wine, when they were doing it, they had plenty. They were happy. Their life was good. But ever since they stopped, things went bad. They were hungry. They died of starvation and war. And let's see what the Abroni has inserted here. The Abrofor, they have inserted something here. If you have eyes, when you read it, you will see it. So verse 19. After the woman has said it, verse 19. And the woman added, when we baked cakes, shaped like the queen of heaven, offered sacrifices to her, and poured out wine offerings to her, our husbands approved of what we were doing. Then Jeremiah said to them, then I said to all the men and women who had answered me in this way, quoted, as for the sacrifices which you and your ancestors, your kings and your leaders, and the people of the land offered in the towns of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem, do you think that the Lord did not know about them, or that he forgot? This very day your land lies in ruins and no one lives in it. It has become a horrifying sight, and people use its name as a curse, because the Lord could no longer endure your wicked and evil practices. This present disaster has come on you because you offer sacrifices to other gods and sinned against the Lord by not obeying all his commands. Now the Queen of Heaven is what we in Ghana call Nana Buruku. That's a female deity who rules over the middle of the earth, and therefore all energies on earth are under her. Right. Now because of the Abroni want the black man to stay away from his deities, so that the Abroni can come and subdue the black man. The black man has inserted these things in the Bible that when the Israelites were suffering, it was because they used to pour libation to the Queen of Heaven and the other deities. And now God is punishing them. But this is a question that every sensible person must be asking. They say that their God is a kind God, that when you repent from your sins, you change from your evil ways, he is willing to forgive you, right? Okay, let me ask you this question. When the Israelites were pouring the wine offerings and the whatever they had to the goddess of heaven, that time, throughout those years, why didn't the God that the Abroni is now talking about punish them? But now that they have stopped, they have repented from their old ways. It is now that they are suffering, now that the God is punishing them. This is a lie. Unless you're trying to tell me that the Most High was powerless when the Israelites were giving the wine offering to the God of the Queen of Heaven, because perhaps the Queen of Heaven was protecting the Israelites from the Most High, that the Bible claims to be the God of the Bible. Because if you want to punish me for doing something wrong, it should be when I was doing the thing, not when I have repented. If you claim that when I repent, you forgive me. Now I have repented, I've stopped doing what I used to do, and it's not that you are punishing me. Does it make sense? Does it make sense? So this one should tell you that anytime that you go away from the norms, from the customs of your land, things will go bad for you. Black people will go back home and resettle the energies that you have left from your families. It is the reason why things are going so bad for you. African spirituality in the Bible, libational prayers. So anytime that you want to pray to the Most High, to any deity, don't forget to pour wine on the ground. Don't forget to pour wine on the ground. Now, I can go on and go on. There are a lot of things in the Bible that put this claim in a good shape. that libation is the highest form of prayer. You can stand there and wish and wish and wish, but energies need something. You have to offer them something for them to also offer you something. You serve them, they serve you. And later, I'll come and show you how to do your own altar. How to do your own altar, so that when you offer prayers to your energies, they will respond to you and bless you. Thank you so much for always having the time to watch my videos and supporting me. There are some of you that have been sending me tokens to sponsor my up and downs. I thank you all. Maxine, I thank you for the money you sent me. And Sean, you bought me a Wi-Fi to be used for uploading my videos. Sean, thank you so much. Z, you once sent me token for buying of credit for uploads. Thank you so much. And the rest of you watching, please, when you get the time, take our numbers on the screen and also send us tokens. We'll be appreciative very much. Thank you so much. Subscribe, like, and share. Bye-bye.